Before we begin, let's have a look at the outline. As you can see, we are going to divide this talk into 6 parts, and I want to start by the definition of general environment first. So, what is general environment? It refers to a combination of factors outside a company that can influence the operation and performance of the business. If any one of you are taking notes, just jot down the highlight words that we have done here, like factors outside the company and operation and performance, etc. Anyways, we're moving on to part one, which is international. About the international dimension, globalization influences all other aspects of the external environment, which include provide new competitors, customers, and suppliers, shapes social, technological, and economic trends. All organizations must compete and think globally, and the global environment is complex and ever-changing. So let me illustrate by the event of COVID-19. Many countries have suspended the entry of all foreigners, and people are cut off from normal social interaction. However, thanks to social media networks such as Facebook, Google, Twitter, to interact with people all over the world. So, what about the impact on UEH? Because of globalization, UEH students are exposed to knowledge and cultures of other countries, thus can find useful resources available online from other countries, including textbooks or quizzes, etc. And UEH also has established a cooperation relationship with Victoria University of Wellington. That's why students can exchange with each other, yeah, like that. And next, let's consider part two, technological. Technology often helps businesses improve their production process, but technology developments that occur also shape how businesses operate. The point I am making is technological change can be both positive and negative. So, for example, cameras are becoming less common household items because more people use their cell phones to take similar quality images. The technological advancement of cell phones changed the camera industry. Well, about the UEH, educators are using everything from technology in the classroom, such as the LMS system to outline the course, or the email to send notifications to students, or some apps like Google Meet or Microsoft Teams to teach online. And technology has created a more engaged environment for both students and professors, in which everyone can interact with the others using internet and thus can receive a larger amount of knowledge. Technological improvement can help turn dull traditional subjects into interactive and fun activities. So that's the general picture for technology. My next point is part three, socio-cultural. Well, some socio-cultural factors include population size and cultural trends, as well as demographics like age, gender, and race. When advertising to consumers, businesses keep their target demographics in mind to find ways to best reach their audience. In other words, suppliers try to catch up with new trends so that they can sell more products. And the case in this point is the health trend has created an opportunity for many industries, like PepsiCo is a big company who produce some soft drinks. PepsiCo was able to gain market share from its rival Coca-Cola by being the first to introduce diet cola and fruit-based soft drinks. So I might just mention the impact on UEH University. You know, like students and teachers form relationships in the classroom and help the students learn through observation, listening, or through their tasks. So the educators try to analyze how students react to knowledge nowadays, thus providing the most suitable teaching strategy and help students study better. So that's complete my overview of the first three factors, and I will now leave the next part to Mr. Sung Dae. Thank you.
So, hi guys. So let's dive right into the economic dimension. So economic factors are determinants of a certain country's economic performance. So these factors are also considered as the general economic health of a country or region. So yeah, these factors include unemployment rates, interest rates, and inflation rates, exchange rates, etc. And those may have a profound indirect or direct long-term impact on the companies. And also it can affect the supply and demand in an economy. So you may know that today, many organizations around the world are operating in a global environment. So as a result, the economic dimension has become exceedingly complex and creates enormous uncertainty. So for example, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, unemployment rates have increased across the whole world. Well, so how does the impact of this dimension have on UH? Well, it's clear that there is a reduction in income during the pandemic. So our university decided to support 5% reduction of tuitions for all students and offer scholarships for students who are affected by the pandemic. So next is legal and political dimension. Well, by using legislation, government regulations, and political activities, our government can regulate and make some profound influences on the business behaviors. Well, at first, legal factors and political factors, you may see that they have some kind of connections between them, but legal factors include more specific laws, such as discrimination laws, employment laws, consumer protection laws, health and safety laws. Well, as a result, managers today must stay informed about the changes in the laws of a country that they are doing business in. So especially the global companies, in order to operate successfully and in the right way, because each country has its own set of rules and regulations. So when it comes to political factors, well, there are the things that to what extent a government can intervene in some fields of the economy and some certain industries, such as government policies, political stability or instability, eventually corruption, and tax policies. So how the impacts of legal political dimension have on our university? Well, Vietnamese government have been pursuing the modernization and international integration policies for years. So as a result, UEH must move swiftly towards internationalization and embarking on global integration into the worldwide university community. Well, in order to do so, our university have been changing and providing students with up-to-date curriculums, well, based on many well-known universities from around the world, such as Harvard, Oxford. You can see on the screen. Okay. So, according to the government, during this pandemic, we are also help the government to gather information from the students by making a survey form. So, gather information about whether our students can be able to study offline or not. Okay, last but not least, natural forces dimension. Well, today it's really imperative for the firms to to focus on their environmental sensitivity in their mission statements, and to gain consumer appreciate and support with green solutions. But like natural dimension, like plants, animals, rocks, and some kind of similar resources, they are not be able to raise their voice to let us know whether they are feeling uncomfortable or they're in danger or not. So it's really important to raise the awareness of the young generations to protect them. Well, maybe the most efficient ways will be monetary consequences. Well, according to the law on environmental protection, 2014, you can see that if we violate some environmental protection, well, we will be fined with 1 billion Vietnam dong for individuals and 2 billions for organizations. Well, currently our university have currently participated in the national competition called the Zero Waste City Challenge, and also create a concept, Think and Live Green, which is the first project pioneering a green and sustainable lifestyle at the university. But the goal is to educate knowledge, raise the awareness, and change behavior and help students understand better about the zero waste lifestyle. Well, with a Rethink Be Green in 2021, this aims to reduce the amount of garbage in general by 40% and reduce the single-use plastic waste by 30%. Well, at least 70% of students and employees. Well, our university also produces some products like handbook, I Am a Green US Citizen, a UEH zero waste platform, and resource recovery model, and UEH or green community. Wow. So that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening. So is there any questions that you guys want to ask me or the team members?
Thank you very much for your interesting presentation.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed your presentation. Very good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Your structure very good. First, for each situation, each factor of the general environment, you will present the theory and example to demonstrate theory, and after that you apply the theory to the US. That's very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And now, last you can ask question or discuss about the presentation of team 1.
Yeah.
Any question for team 1?
Okay, so maybe I stop share screening.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, if you don't have any question, we will go to team 2 to present the task environment.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, my name is Bao Yui, and thank you for having me today. Firstly, I'm greatly appreciated since you guys let me to stand a chance to introduce to Mr. Kwa and all of you guys along inside it about the task environment and how it impacts to university, which is UEH. Okay, so before everything goes, our presentation is divided into 5 parts. I will have a quick glance of the definition of task environment. Then I will dive into 4 factors, which is customer factors, competitors, suppliers, and the last one is labor market. So without any further ado, let me walk you through the first one, is the definition of task environment. The task environment is the parts of the external environment, and task environment are things that are close to the organization and affect it the most. It includes customers, competitors, suppliers, and labor market. Analyzing task environment can make better informed decisions on what to do strategically and pick a good and effective direction for the government to go in. Okay, so the first factors is customers. Customers are the people in the environment that acquire goods and service from the organization. They create demand for products and are a source of income for the business. Customers are life of any organizations. Organizations must work towards achieving customers' satisfaction and attract new ones. Organizations now have to be very responsive because customers determine the organization's success. And there are some laws to protect customers from companies that attempt to provide dangerous or shoddy products. Okay, so what is the similarity between business and education? In business, corporate behavior is important in strengthening relationships with organizations between individuals and teams. It reflects the value of the business that defines it, and it makes the company way more different and better than any companies else. So in education, which is UEH University, the lead of UEH University listen and provide students with the most effective products and service that students desire. The university will be way more successful. So what can UEH University do to affect the customers, which is the college students? With the widespread of COVID-19 pandemic these days, UEH University struggles find a way to provide the most effective online classroom. So in UEH University, there are a lot of talk shows, which is organized by many successful teachers to strive for the openness to learn from difference of any ideas and opinions of each student. Again, as the pandemic is still tension, college students like us, K47, we cannot fully see how the university operates and truly environment. To find a solution, UEH provide college students by creating a lot of platforms for students to attempt, such as Break Room Gaming, which is a module of cyberspace to provide all quality games where there are more than 40 clubs and groups to participate in. The leader of UEH will make a lot of decisions based on what college students need and where students can ask whenever there are any problems, like Gmail. For students are expected to be good citizens and to engage in any responsible behavior that reflect well upon their university, and they will be civil to one another and to others in the university community. Okay, so the next one will be Ho Lian Yu will represent you guys.
I'm sorry, I just saw that Ho Lian Yu is out of the class. So I think I may continue the presentation. So next factors in the task environment is competitors. So competitors are or organization within the same industry or type of business that vie for the same set of customer. So UEH has many competitors in the form of University of Economics, for example, like Foreign Trade University or National Economics University and University of Finance and Marketing. So next is the effects of competitions on UEH. Competitions in the education industry force UEH to constantly innovate and make advances in all fields of education through improvements in infrastructure and qualities of facilities, and through new learning and teaching technologies. And the two last one is the national and international cooperations and between the student interactions. These are some programs to help UEH keep up with the current trends and the competitions. So these are some of the competitions. The next one we want to present is the suppliers. So suppliers provide the raw materials that the organization use to produce its output. And it is the critical part of task environment. Suppliers have high bargaining power. They provide non-physical resources. And the main target in supplier field is if demand is available, supply is absolutely created. We move on the effects of suppliers to UEH. So in education aspect, to develop the university teaching quality, UEH has been seeking for talented teachers and mentors to come and companion with it, which become a great example for the supplier environment. Next is the internship opportunities in UEH. Intern companies give UEH students chance to work as a newbie in the final year. And the last one we want to present is the online activities. The cyberspace platforms play a crucial role in advertising in informations and curriculums. For example, Facebook provides a platform for UEH to live streaming its 45 years event and for UEH clubs to broadcast themselves. So let's move on. The last factor in task environment is labor market. Labor markets is the people in the environment who can be hired to work for the organizations. Specific to the education system, there are the university lecturers and the technology employees. So we have the example of DSH, which is the Department of Student Affairs. So the DSA is well trained in expertise and attitude, skills, and professionalism to meet the satisfaction of learner as well as other UEH partners. DSA provides information needs about UEH for learners and partners. And it supports Office of UEH, main campus and online. The DSA also has a UEH switchboard system to help connect and support learners in the most convenient ways. All the data and the information from learners is integrated in the CRM system to support information for learner quickly accurately and reliably. And next is the teaching staff, which is the teachers selected from excellent, excellent lecturers in the management and administration field. UH training program constantly had constantly improved and updated in Vietnamese and English also. So there are some data about the number of professors in UH. What do the labor markets affect on UH? First, this is the first public higher education institute in Vietnam, placing learners in the position of customers. And DSA and teaching staff mainly focus on caring for and supporting learners, ensuring guarantee to create the best conditions for them to study, live, and research. And the master and doctors from UH are promoting their roles well in central and local agency. And this is the end of our presentations. If you have some question, you can ask.
Yeah, thank you, team 2. Yeah, you also has interesting presentation. For me, it's very good. And you also introduced the theory about start environment and apply to the UES context. Now I'll ask, you can ask the question for team 2. You have any question? Do you understand only for you? Okay, and I have a question. If you don't have a question, I have a question. I asked on your last. Who you think, according to your opinions, who are customers of UH? Yeah, Ngọc Mai.
Yes, teacher, it's me. The customer of UEH is students and lecturers.
Hey,
I think.
Student and who? Ngọc Mai, can you repeat?
Yes. The student and teacher.
Student and teacher.
No, I'm wrong. It's just student.
Yeah, thank you, Ngọc Mai. And Phương Anh.
Yes, teacher.
Yeah. Besides student, who's to be student or customer of UH?
I think that the teacher also the customer of the UH.
Teacher also the customer. Yes. Okay, Phương Anh. And Huy Bảo, can you have?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's all about the teacher and the students. It's the customer.
The same with Phương Anh.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, many people raised hand. And Minh Châu. Minh Châu, you has okay. For the university customer, some peso and company. First, student is the correct student customer of the UH, and besides student, we can have your family, your parents, also customer of UH. So UH must know what your parents want, what your needs from UH, and to satisfy your parents. And the third maybe the companies or organizations is they hire, they employ the student from from US, also customer of US. So they are five type customer, but students and your family, your parents, and the company or organizations who employs this student graduate from US. So US must know on know the needs of the customer needs and find a way to satisfy the customer needs. And maybe about this competitor. Your team, team 2, you present three competitor as the Portage University and what Portage University and National Economics University and University of Finance and Marketing. For the last, I want to ask when you select the university to study, which the first choice, your first choice, what university you think about beside the US, and which university you think about to join before beside US? Thảo Nguyên.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I choose a university, so the first thing I concern is about whether it is good for my education or not. So because when I was in grade 12, I didn't have my dream, so I just choose the top education university.
Yeah.
And finally I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Thảo Nguyên. And Diễm Quỳnh.
Well, just like I also consider about the quality, but another really important factor for me is facility, because I believe that a university with good facilities can like encourage me to study more than those that don't have. So I took a brief look and I found out that UH have a really good facilities with a lot of like yeah, and that's just it. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Diễm Quỳnh. And do you Did you confuse to choice between the US and University of Finance and Marketing? You can feel difficult to choice between the US and UAF. Nguyên, yes.
So I haven't not have had much difficulty when choosing this, and because I think UH like all the things they are better, and it's just really good for my future.
Yeah.
But by the way, I think every university has its own opportunity and benefit for their students. And for me, the best fit for my future is UH.
Yeah, thank you, Thảo Nguyên. And Thu Đầm, I'd like to hear your opinion, your idea.
So my priority is quite different from other people's. So I was first impressed by the environment of UEH. Like I saw some on YouTube and on UEH fan page, and I realized that UEH environment is very energetic, and that really motivates me. So I was no doubt about what university I want to go. So I choose UAH straight away.
Oh, thank you to that. Okay, thank you for your ideas, your answers. I want to know what's exactly the competitor of UAH. Exactly. And do you know about international university and international university is a competitor of US? Minh Hạnh.
I guess it's usually IMIT, UEF, recently WinUni. I think those university, very renowned university, is the biggest competitors to UEH.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Minh Hạnh. That's I think that's IMIT on and WinUni also big competitor of US. Okay, thank you for the presentation of Team 2. And we go through to the Team 3, which question about the subject. What US should do to, for example, should do to adapt the changing of external environment today?
Hello, can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of group number 3, allow me to extend a warm welcome to all of you. Today, we would like to take this opportunity to talk about a topic named such as what UEH should do to adapt the changing of the external environment today. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Han Huynh from Group 3. Besides, There are also Minh Han, Như Hậu, Đình Hòa, and Ya Hoàng in my group too. Our presentation is divided into two main parts, the definition and four solutions. Let me start with the most general definition about the external environment. External environment includes all elements existing outside the boundary of the organization that have the potential to affect the organization. University of Economics Ho Chi Minh City is among University of Economics Ho Chi Minh City is among the top 1,000 best business schools in the world, according to statistics in 2014, and gains numerous academic attainments. That is to say, UEH has many competitors such as MIT, FCU, UEF, TDTU, etc., who have gained reputation in educating the same field, leading to affect the choice of potential students who are interested in economics. That's all I had to say about the definition. Now, I'd like to move on to the next parts, which are by my teammates.
So, the first element that UEH should be able to adapt due to the variation of external environment is the increase in the number of attractive scholarships. In general, providing more incentives will possibly lead to the enhancement of universities' reputation. For instance, considering two institutions which have the same teaching curriculum, the same quality of professors lineup. So what is the difference between those two, encouraging students to choose instead of other? They are surely captivated by one which is well known from creating the popularity with appealing scholarships. To clarify, there are two ways for a university to approach potential students by using the incentives. The aid of numerous scholarships acts as a very tempting consideration in the school choosing process for students and retain extraordinarily skilled and talented students to keep studying. First of all, the implementation of scholarships can handle financial problems. The scope of education is expanding these days, and so are the educational expenses. Not to mention that there is a higher cost of living for those who decide to study in a university which is far away from their hometown. It occurs extra cost for renting, eating, and commuting demand, and thus they will unable to cope with the lack in budget, and some will take loans, which may inflict extra burden and cause students anxiety paying them. Opposite to loans, scholarships play as an assistant role for the underprivileged and help them to continue their education. Secondly, incentives enhance the resume. It is the first thing that interviewers will go through even before your interview and consider whether your education can impress them or not. And to achieve scholarships, students are promoted to keep studying and working efficiently, therefore spontaneously improving the skills and knowledge so that they can find jobs easier. On the other hand, providing scholarships may exist extra fees from school, leading to the fall in revenue of institutions.
Okay, before going straight to the point, I'm gonna explain the roles of teachers and staffs in the universities. As we know, they are the intermediaries that will provide us with safety like wards. The laborers help us using the utilities, and teachers teach us knowledge. So they need a consolidation too. That's the reason why UEH need to constantly update teachers and staff lineup. Here are list 3 actions that UEH can do, as we can see on the screen. It's organized training system for teachers and staffs, rise the educational quality, and keep updating recruitment process. Firstly, about a training system, they need to be provided with basic knowledge, which can help them distinguish each problem in such different situations and handle negative impacts on time. Learning some soft skill is never be redundant. It helps you with flexibilities that in the others embarrassing moments or even emergencies, it turns out very helpful. An offline meeting helps too, since they can bring people together, therefore avoid conflicts between individuals and resistant to bad external effects. Secondly, we need to raise the educational quality as it directly affects the way we face the problems. Annually update the latest information for textbook can help us catch up with the new changes. Example, more information nowadays lead to more definements or phenomenon, and an update in the lectures is necessary. We can also motivate students' abilities by enhancing teaching methods and devices, make the study process more attractive and modern. Furthermore, ensure teachers' academic knowledge so that they can provide students more specialized information, improve their results, and maybe gain more achievements. Finally, must keep updating the recruitment process, choosing potential applicants, and make sure they are well qualified and have a willing to work well with their colleges. And now we talk about the pros and cons. An advantage here is that the lineup will become more constant and easily adapt with the bad effects from outside. Moreover, it becomes more flexible. People can handle such difficult situations. However, there's still some disadvantages. The activities may need huge amount of money, and it takes so much time. Furthermore, there are probably some dissent among individuals since they have different points of view due to their subjects. Example, like natural science teachers and social sciences one. They have different or nearly opposite point of views, so it leads to the misunderstanding in their worldview. And luckily, all of these disadvantages can be dealt with effortlessly. Now I'll let Yao Huang continue our presentation.
So the another suggestion that we want to talk about is enhanced study demands applications. So how can we do it? After not very long, but also not very short time of thinking, we come up with 3 ways to improve the current state in applications. The first one is A, help students in finding learning resource. B, support freshmen in finding the place to stay. And C, upgrading the applications. Now let's talk about the first point. I believe that many students have a hard time finding the right materials for every single subject because there are too many sources on the internet and each of them completely differs to each other. So maybe we can install an app like a one-click app, just search the name and with one click, maybe the books and materials you need to study is right in front of your eye. Or we can create a group for UAHers to share the materials they have. It is very easy to execute and also very effective. For the second point, I think that many students, especially freshmen, struggle in finding the place to stay when studying in our school. Although we have 2 dorms, it's not enough for such amount of students in UAH because the slots are very limited. The rest had to rent motels to stay. But Ho Chi Minh City is a very big city, which means there are tons of motels. So how can they indicate which one is the best place to stay, since there are many hidden dangers when we live in big cities? Providing the information about nearby motel is the greatest way that we can think of. With the information they acquired, they can choose which place suits them the most. UAH can also give them financial support if money is the most problematic thing for them. Just with a little bit of supply, and they will 100% better and love our school even more. And about the last point, we all agree that our school sites are somewhat not too stable. So a few days ago, when I was taking the quizzes on the LMS system, the site suddenly shut down, and I was very panicked and asked my classmates, and turned out most of them faced the same problem with me. With that in mind, all of us agree that our school should improve the quality of these sites so that less problems like this will be occurred. Moreover, guides can be added to help newcomers become less struggle in using these sites. Another way that can be considered is that UAH can group the sides together in order not to confuse the students whether which side to use. So with these methods, we think that students will feel more comfortable and love our school more. School website will also be much better and easier to access. Other than that, UAH will be more appealing to the other people when they see the welfare students in our school received. However, more money must be invested to make this work.
Thank you very much, my teammates. And lastly, the last suggestion that our group want to give today is increasing cross-cultural activities. Our school can host more foreign student exchange programs with multiple universities from all around the world and establish partnership with them. They can also give scholarships for exceptional students for them to have a chance to explore the foreign environment and then come back to Vietnam becoming a person with both expertise and practical knowledge. Another way is to hold more cultural festivals. They can either be school side or club side, and of course, there would be rewards for active students. To make the event more exciting, there can be multiple cultural exploration activities such as singing, dancing traditional songs from other cultures, or custom contests. I'm sure that the large majority of UEH students would be delighted to participate in such activities. The gain from increasing cross-cultural activities would absolutely be a rise in UEH reputation as an innovative university where students get to experience multiple knowledge broadening activities. Furthermore, students' learning experience would be vastly improved, and the 4 years they have at UEH would become a memorable experience, and it's those graduates who will spread good words about the university. And last advantage is the student of UEH would get a wider range of options for education, and we can become competitive even to renowned private universities such as IMIT or VUNI. However, there are some downsides as well. Hosting so many activities and programs undoubtedly requires tremendous work and budget, so there will be an increase in annual school fee. Moreover, for UEH to become a culturally diverse university, it also means work for the Board of Education to ensure a healthy and safe environment for both domestic and international students, which is a very complicated problem.
Well, that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for all the concentration of Mr. Hua and our classmates.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation of team number 3 about what US could do to adapt the changing environment today. There's many good ideas, so US can apply, can think to apply in the US activity. I think it's very good. And also for me, the program director, I also know, and I will take a station with your subject, and will try to do and to certify of your need and the suggestion. Thank you. And any question from the last?
Teacher?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, for now.
Yes, actually, I have one question for you. So, yeah, as an UEH teacher, so I see that on the ranking systems, our school is always higher than FTU. Because I think we have better teachers, we have better facilities, we have better activities, courses, but I don't know why the standard point of our school is lower.
Yeah,
that's my question.
I understand your question. And who in the last can answer the question of Mr. Nam? You can guess. Do you think what the reason why the selection point from FTGU always higher than UH? Who can guess and can tell us the reason why? In my opinion, it may be because of the total number of students for this selection exam from the difference between the US and FTGU. For US, for example, this year, US has 6,500 students. But the total of the FTGU just about 4,000. Especially in because they select fewer students, so that's maybe that's the selection point maybe higher. That's the one reason. And the second or maybe a second is about the brand name in Vietnam. In Vietnam, FTGU in Vietnam, the brand name also they famous because from the past about the year maybe 18 and 19 maybe about the 1980 and 1990s, when at that time when you as employee work in the sporting trade is a very attractive work. So many students want to study in sporting trade field. So they can get many good students at that time. So that's the brand name from that time to now. It may be the same with maybe the same in US. US has the international business and marketing. We has let's look about poly trade, and now international trade. Also, many students want to work in the poly trade so maybe because many students want to apply, want to study in that field, and maybe the score higher. And that's about ranking in the international ranking. It's based on many other criterion. For example, the total of publication, international publications, and the reputation, the total of citation from the US, from the researcher and lecturer of the university and about how many the rate of students get a work after the graduate from the university, and many things, many writers to run a university.
Thank you, teacher.
Yeah. And any question? Any other question? Okay, thank you, team number 3. And before we go to the presentation of team number 4, I would like to make some summary of the lesson about the external environment. So I give you a short, very short summary. Summary about chapter number 3. We has the environment and corporate culture, and the first part we talk about the environment of the organization, and you can know the structure and outline of each chapter through this the picture, and you see here the border of an organization. And outside, that's the factor that's the influence the organization. And we had to look at a general environment and type environment. And you also yes, from team number 1 and to number 2 as presents for you about it, general environment and type environment. And I will go through some key points. First, I want to emphasize the external environment. External organization environment is looked at the outside element. That effect is a key word you remember. That effect. Outside the environment, there are many factors. Many elements. But the organization just care what element does affect the organization. That's the key word you can remember from the definition of external environment. For example, for US, there are many outside elements. For example, maybe about the COVID-19 as affect the US, affect our university. But other factors, other elements, for example, the foreign exchange rate, it's not affect US, and US don't care about the foreign exchange rate. For example, this is about the key word you can remember. And after that, general environment usually affect the organization indirectly. But that environment usually affect directly to organization environment usually directly. So it's more stronger. It's more stronger effect stronger than the general environment. And about today as we has said about before that today environment change quickly, so many on most of organization must adapt to the change of the environment. So we have the term, the keyword, that's the uncertainty. Uncertainty does mean that Azure do not have sufficient information about environmental factors to understand and predict the environmental needs and change. So today our external environment is uncertainty. So to adapt the environment, the changing of the environment, there are three ways. There are two ways to adapt the changing of the environment. First, about boundary spanning rules. That's mean the organization must active to connect to the environment and find and search for information from environment, and they must have active to adapt to environment. For example, we use business intelligence or competitive intelligence. Find information, search for information about business and search for information about competitive, and they adapt for that. And the second way is about inter-organizational partnership. Today, many you can hear many the term that strategic partner. So many companies, they sit together, they work together, they sit together, and we set up relationship to cooperate to adapt with the changing of environment. For example, in US has many strategic partnership contract. For example, had a partnership contract with Đắk Lắk province, Đắk Nông province, Tiền Giang province, Đồng Tháp province, Vĩnh Long, Kiên Giang, Cà Mau, and so forth, many, and other, and has a partnership, strategic partnership with other organization. For example, Costa Korean SME, Costa Korean SME Trade Association, for example, and also have many strategic partnership with other university in the world. That's the help US to can help US to easy to adapt, to flexible and adapt to adapt with the change of environment. And the other way is that company may merge. For example, in Vietnam, Grab must zero, for example, and also the other way that joint venture that two company they set up new company and they invest capital to new company to get the chunk point from the mother company. That's the way organization today they can use to adapt to the environment, the change of environment today. Yeah. Okay, and so you see today the change in the partner, the relationship between organizations. In the past, maybe the competition and conflict, and today they set up the relationship and collaboration to work together to adapt with the change of environment. That's my very short summary of the third part, external environment. And now we move forward with team number 4. Team number 4 we present about the level of corporate culture of UEH.
Can you guys see my screen?
I just see. Okay, it's good. I see.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. Hua, and hello there, friends. I am Hải Linh, a member of Team 4. Today, Long and I are here on behalf of our members, presenting the levels of the corporate culture of UEH, along with some perceptions about corporate culture. So, not gonna take your time. May I begin our presentation? Throughout our presentation, there are 3 big contents. First off, corporate culture and its importance. Secondly, we would introduce different levels of corporate culture. And the final part is about the corporate culture of our university, UEH. Before we delve into the definition of corporate culture, what does corporate mean? What is culture? Corporate is an adjective. It means relating to a corporation, especially a large company or organization. Culture does not just include the attitudes and behavior characteristic of a social group only. It is an environment in which there's a deep trust among the members. And that trust is created on some common traits that they all embrace. So, corporate culture is a set of key values, beliefs, understandings, and norms that members of an organization share. So why did it so important? There's a quote by Doug Conant that rings my ear, which is, "To win at the marketplace, you must win in the workplace." An organization's corporate culture is shaped by a variety of elements, including the physical environment, hierarchy, human resource practices, as well as the company's emphasis on more abstract elements such as process, innovation, competition, community involvement, and social engagement. Quite a lot, huh? But what I mean by that is corporate culture influences everything within an organization, from employee behavior to a company's ability to innovate and change. Therefore, you can say that a strong positive, and clearly defined corporate culture can help businesses succeed. Some successful companies that exemplify efficient corporate cultures would be Disney and Google, whose corporate cultures are characterized as caring and enjoyment. This has been thoroughly analyzed and proved based on the environments that they foster behind the scenes. On the other hand, organizations with an undefined or toxic culture are on the edge of a poor results, high employee turnover, and even bankruptcy. To cite an example, Zynga once was the largest social games company, got out of control, and faced severe crisis due to their little attention paid to culture values. Teams for games work under aggressive deadlines and are continuously challenged to meet lofty goals. Former employees encountered threats from top managers, and there were even moments when they broke down in tears. They began voicing their frustration. Many valued employees have been lured away by competitors, and they failed. So what's the moral of the story? A company's success cannot be sustained without an increased focus on building a positive culture. So what are the different levels of corporate culture? Long will help you guys clear this out. Coming up, Long.
Thank you, Khang Linh. So how can we classify corporate culture? Corporate culture is divided into two levels. That's the visible and invisible level. To simplify such matter, we visualize this level into a model of iceberg. The observable part of the iceberg, which represents the outlook of an organization, is the overt property of an organization. This property includes slogans, ceremonies, restaurants, and even office layouts. On the other hand, the submerged segment of the iceberg relates to how people interact, varies from their belief, conscious, unconscious behavior to an individual compliance to his or her organizations. As we can clearly assume that this underlying segment take up the majority of the iceberg volume, so it will determine the floatability of the iceberg, which in a more realistic sense, the invisible value affects the most to the sustainability of an organization. Let's take a closer application to UEH. How about UEH corporate culture? In what extent has UEH established a successful corporate culture? As I have mentioned about two corporate culture subgenre, they are visible and invisible value. In terms of corporate culture level of UEH, the visible value can be demonstrated more clearly through many lively events and competition of UEH, which recently the most noticeable is the UEH slogan competition. The transition in the slogan notes the decision of our university to put on a new holistic appearance from an economic emphasis to a multi-branch university. The advancing of UEH visible value mark a great fit of Vietnamese educational system in general or UEH in specific on the progress to international integration in the future. So throughout the years, UAH has managed to build up a community with enthusiastic and very energetic individuals. Behavioral culture of UAH students has played an important role in molding the shape of invisible culture value by open, compassionate, altruistic attitudes between every member of UAH. Beside the behavioral culture, there are core value and foundational value, which are also an integral part of UEH corporate culture. Core value can be interpreted through solidarity, reverence to tradition, and religion in the community. Also, foundational values such as traditional value, future value, scientific research culture, provide parity and equity in our UEH environment.
All in all, culture is the glue that holds the organization together, and we're all honored to be a part of UEH. This is also the end of our presentation. Wishing you a happy day and best of luck in your future ahead. If you guys have any difficulties, don't hesitate to question us. We're all ears. Again, thank you for your attention. Thank you, Mr. Hua. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. It's very good presentation. And about the UH culture. And any question from the class? Maybe Nhật Quang.
I have a question for group 4. So if the invisible culture be exposed outside and many people know about it, so would it still be considered as an invisible or a visible culture?
Can you hear me clearly, Wang?
Yes.
So to answer your question, I think that the act of which in your word exposing an invisible value of an organization will actually help you get a more understanding insight about an organization corporate culture. For example, like a Japanese company has implemented a regulation which allows 2 employees to buy 2 cokes with the same price as one. The profound meaning of that regulation is to enhancing the relationship between that company's employees, which in this case is to elevating that company corporate culture. So the moral of the story is that sometimes the invisible value of an organization may be misinterpreted into its visible counterpart.
Thank you for Mr. He and Quỳnh Như.
Yes, I would like to ask a question for group 4. In the case that student in UEH can assess teacher, is it visible or invisible?
I will answer your questions. Actually, it is considered as invisible because this is their internal business. We evaluate professors to improve our quality of teaching.
Okay, thank you.
That's the way we do in our university, and that's the from the invisible, and the way you do, the way you practice that, the visible. Any other question? Can you share your thinking, your feeling from
Thầy mic thầy bị tắt rồi thầy hả?
Oh, sorry. Yesterday you stand the opening ceremony of your batch, and can you share about your feeling, your thinking about that ceremony?
Is it question for our group?
So on up your last. Who can share your feeling, your thinking about yesterday's ceremony?
Then I would like to answer this question.
Yeah.
I also have watched the ceremony, and I feel like the way they operate the program to make us feel welcome and feel honored is very impressive. Yes.
Yeah. And do you think also for your team number 4, and what you find out as the last ceremony connect to the US corporate culture or the value corporate value of the invisible value of US? What you can find out from that ceremony? Okay.
Thầy ơi, thầy tắt mic hả thầy?
Now I would like to invite, invite the team number 5 to present your presentation.
Hello, teacher.
Yeah. Hello, ma'am.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, now I can see your screen.
Okay. So. Oh. Can you see the PowerPoint clearly?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, hello, teacher. Hello, class. Today I'm representing my team, Group 5, to present to you the environment and corporate culture. So, first of all, let me introduce you the members of my team. There are Miss Ngọc Mai, Miss Xuân Mai, Miss Thảo Nguyên, and me. I am the leader of Team Group 5, and Mr. Quang Minh. Yeah. So first of all, let us show you a clip. So you can have a brief understanding about what is corporate culture and what is its role in our everyday life. Can you hear the sound of the clip?
No.
Oh.
Okay. Let me try it again. Can you hear it now?
Yeah, I can hear you all.
Okay, okay.
I can hear the sound from your lips. I can hear.
Okay, so there must be some problem with the clip, so I think I will skip this part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in our presentation today, we will have three main contents. The first one is 4 types of cultures, where we tell you the 4 different types that any companies has, and the second one is combining culture and performance, and the last one is how the managers lead their cultural leadership. So first one, so this is a this is a graph showing the four most important culture in a corporation. So let us jump into the first one. It's the involvement culture. So as you can see, the graph here means that the involvement culture is mainly flexible and focus on the internal relations. So let us dig deeper into the involvement culture. So what is involvement culture means? So involvement cultures mean to emphasize an internal focus on the participation of employees to adapt rapidly to changing needs from the environments, and it's made up of employees who have a lot in common with each other. So one of the common type of companies to have this kind of culture is like a fashion brand, because they need to adapt to the fast changing world of fashion. So about the characteristics of this culture. So to the organization, it is a very personal, much like an extended family, where everyone is part of the company. Then there's no much big gap between the manager and the subordinates. Everyone try to be as close as possible so as to enhance the workflow and the effectiveness. So in the management style, involvement culture characterized by teamwork and participation. It is a culture that places high value on meeting the needs of employees and values cooperation, and finally is equality. So there are 5 main keywords, which are the values of the involvement culture, which is cooperation, consideration, agreement, fairness, and social equality. So that make your company is not just a normal organization, it is a family to the employees. So next, I will name you an example. It's the company Adobe. So in Adobe, they always choose to put trust in their employees first. So it always guaranteed to goes a long way towards positive company culture. One of the example that Adobe do is that is that Adobe doesn't use ratings to establish employees' capabilities. Managers usually take on the role of a coach more than anything, letting their employees set goals and determine how they should be assessed, not how the rules or the books should say. So yeah, so first thing first, trust your employees. So secondly, let's talk about the adaptability culture. Definition: it is a culture characterized by strategic focus on the external environment through flexibility and change to meet requirements such as fast response and high risk decision making. In other words, it's that kind of it's that kind of culture where your company has to deal with hard but fast decision like the stock market or something like that. You just need to adapt fast. Characteristics. So to the organizations, dynamic and changing, where people take risk, and with the management style characterized by innovation and risk taking. It is a culture characterized by value that supports the company's ability to interpret and translate signals from the environment into new behavior responses. And they also have their core values, and the 5 pillars to the adaptability culture is creativity, experimentation, risk-taking, autonomy, and responsiveness. So in this kind of culture, you are not afraid to take risks, and you do your tasks quick, and you decide quick. You don't wait, and you be responsive too. So one of the example is the Amazon company. So to talk about Amazon is pretty long, so I will short it. It has this kind of project called the Two Pizza Team projects, which means that in Amazon as a high tech company, they want to divide their team as small as possible. So yeah, they want their team to have the enough number of people that Two Pizza can feed, which is about 5 to 6 people. So it is said to be this HR innovation is the most important thing that other companies should understand about Amazon, because with more groups, they are more easily to connect and more easily to communicate with each other. So to the next one, we'll find out about the consistency culture. You might be familiar with the phrase "go by the book." It's like do everything by the rules, by the book. Whatever you are told to do, you do exactly the same. There are rules, and it is not made to be broken. So definition: it is the most traditional culture that revolves around structure, control, and doing things right, which uses an internal focus and a consistency orientation for a stable environment. So yeah, so as I said, it is go by the book and doing things exactly how it should be done. So for this kind of culture, it is stable, and structure with clarity and established procedures. And for the management styles, it is characterized by security and predictability. Everything is within the plan. There could be nothing go wrong because they always go by the book the exact same way. It is the culture that values and rewards a methodical, rational, orderly ways of doing things. So 5 keywords, 5 values for this kind of culture is economy, formality, rationality, order, and most of all, obedience. There is less room for creativity. You have to listen to your superior under any circumstances. So one of the big examples for this kind of culture is the company Zappos. So in Zappos, the hiring process, each Zappos candidate starts his or her recruitment process with a cultural fit interview, which means if you don't fit to the rules and the culture of Zappos, they will not hire you, no matter how good you are. So make sure your hiring process includes how each candidate would fit into the workplace culture. If they are applying for the job chances or they have the skills and knowledge to do it, but they may not be correct fit for your organization's culture. So the last but not least is the achievement culture. It is where people work hard to achieve goals and better the group as a whole, suited to organizations concerned with serving specific customers in the external environment, but without the intense need for flexibility and rapid change. For this type of culture, they always place your results, meaning that good employees get to pay more, and bad employees get to pay nothing. So in this kind of organizations, it is achievement oriented with the focus on competition and getting jobs done. The management style is characterized by high performance demands and achievement, a results-oriented culture that values competitiveness, personal initiative, and achievement, meaning that they want to drive the company to prosper the company by creating the most competitive environment. So the 5 key values is competitiveness, perfectionism, aggressiveness, diligence, and personal initiative. The example is the company AB in Bath. So in AB InBev, there's no luxurious spending, which is they're just focused on cutting costs and meeting goals, and they increase focus on talent. They pay more for the best, and they pay less for the worst. One of the big motto of this company is: the more we save on the business, the more money we have at the end of the year to share with everyone. So now let's go to the combining culture and performance. So here you can see that there are 4 quadrants. So first, let's talk about quadrant A, where it has low attention to values, but yet high attention to business performance. So in quadrant A, leader met performance goals but failed to uphold cultural values. A company in quadrant A pay little attention to either values or business or business result, and is unlikely to survive. So I want to talk about in quadrant C, where they both have low performance and low cultural values. Leaders do not meet performance goals or uphold cultural values. So yeah, that is like the end of the world. You don't want your company to be this way at all, because it is just all bad. You cannot get jobs done, and your employees don't want to work too. So how about in quadrant D, where they have low performance yet high cultural values? Leaders do not meet performance goals, but do uphold cultural values. So maybe the company can stick together, the employees can connect, but without an effective performance goal, they can never meet with the KPI or the sales, etc. So last but not least, the most high performance quadrant is quadrant B, where they have both high performance and high cultural values, where leaders achieve performance goals and uphold desired values too. They put high emphasis on both culture and solid business performance as drivers of success. Managers in these kind of companies align values with the company's day-to-day operations, like hiring practices, performing management, budgeting. Yeah, so this is what a high performance culture looks like. So how to manage a high performance culture? It is based on solid organizational mission and purpose. It shares adapted values that guide decisions and practices. It encourages individual employee ownership of bottom line results, and both bottom line results and organization's culture. So in the last part, we will learn about the cultural leadership. So yeah, cultural leadership is they define and use signals and symbols to influence corporate culture in two key areas. So as a manager, you cannot just let everything run on its own. An efficient culture cannot run on its own, but as a leader, you have to put your hand into it. First of all, in the first key area, you have to articulate a vision for the organizational culture that employees can believe in, which is words. So that is the leader must define and communicate central values that employees actually believe in and will kind of work around it. Values are tied to a clear and compelling mission or core purpose. Like BTS, the shoe brand, they have a motto called the slogan is Nâng niu bằng chân Việt. So its main aim is to serve and put the customer on top, or their even mottos like a better person, company, and world, or we have reserved the right to make mistakes. So words is not enough. With words, you have to put it into action. A leader has to heed the day-to-day activities that reinforce the cultural vision. So the leader makes sure that work, procedures, and reward systems match and reinforce the values. Action speaks louder than words. So as a result, as a leader, you have to walk your talk. So that is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Nam, and thank you, team number 5.
Can I have question for the class?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have one question to just kind of consolidate the knowledge. So can you tell me a motto or a slogan of a brand or a company that you know, and can you try to guess what is the corporate culture of that brand or company?
Yeah.
Can I answer the question?
Yes, please.
One of the example I think of is Circle K, and this convenience store chains had the motto that which called "Take it easy," and I think it represents the adapt culture.
Okay. Thank you. Can you explain more, or just that is all your answer?
I just guess. I just make a guess.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone raise their hand? Okay. Please, Mr. Dak.
Okay, so I see the brand Nike, right?
Yes.
They have a slogan that is just do it, and I think well, just do it is something like consistency culture.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Dak. So yeah, that's the end of our presentation. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, teacher. Thank you for listening.
Yep, thank you, team number 5, and thank you for your throughout presentation. You introduce very detailed of the theory about corporate culture, and I will have some summary about corporate culture in this chapter. First, about the definition of the corporate culture. It is a set of key values, beliefs, and understanding norm that member of an organization share and do. So we can see that corporate culture as a value and belief that all member of organization they believe, they think that it's right, and they will do for us for the value according to the value and beliefs. And there are 2 levels of corporate culture, and you can see the 2 levels of corporate culture at a tree. And there's about the leaves, juice, flower, and trunk of the tree. That's you can see. So that's a visible culture you can see. But how the leaves, how flower, and how the fruit, juice. Oh, sorry. I haven't said. I see. As you can see, corporate culture like tree does, and visible culture is like maybe you can see a tree with the leaves and tools and flower and trunk of tree. You can see, but the leaf, the tools and flower trunk of the tree that's maybe be the very important factor that's make that how the tools how this of the trees. That's about the roots of the tree. So that's root maybe is the invisible culture. That's maybe traditional beliefs, values, history, and custom of the company and a corporate. That's the so there are two levels of corporate culture. You can image that a tree. It's very so it's easy to understand about corporate culture. And about this corporate culture, the invisible of corporate culture is maybe and how we can understand, we can know the corporate culture, corporate values. That's depend. You can use some symbol story tell about that's linked to the value of a corporate culture, and maybe hero and maybe slogan and ceremony. And I has asked you a question that's about your you has attended guest day opening ceremony, and can you find out what from yesterday ceremony that's linked to the U.S. culture, also let's have U.S. culture, and I think maybe that's the slogan that from the U.S. student to the global citizen. Also linked that's where the slogan of yesterday ceremony that's linked to the U.S. culture, and many activity, many in the last ceremony that's linked to the you can know the values and of U.S. culture from yesterday ceremony, and maybe from slogan from logo of U.S. So you can see from that. And Mr. Nam also present very detailed about the 4 types of corporate culture. I can repeat. I just go to the last once the manager must focus to improve and to improve the corporate culture. There are two ways. First, the leader manager must show up a very clear picture of the corporate value, clear picture. Maybe all employee can see very clear vision, the picture, so they can know how to do with the same value of the corporate culture. And after that, the leader, they must say today on to the activities, they must say and do the same with the corporate culture, values. So employee can see the leader, and they can work the same with the leader. So they're easy to do and with the corporate culture value. And that's some short summaries from the second part of this chapter about the corporate culture. And do you have any question about this chapter on the content part of chapter number 3? Okay, and we may take a rest about 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Now 3:30, 3:15, and we will start again when at 3:30.